also points to a very complex situation when we talk about counter-terrorism efforts by not just India, by the friends of Justin Trudeau, by G7, by G20. And then there is one human rights aspect which is repeatedly, time and again, and now it is almost clear that is being done for political gains. So how does it hamper the efforts, the counter-terrorism efforts?
Absolutely, this is a very valid point, Pankaj, and what our guests have also mentioned. The fact is that, look, India and Canada don't have a problem. The problem here is being created by one politician from one political party for very narrow partisan gains.
Right.
And he, as our speakers just pointed out, are being supported by this Jagmeet Singh's party,
right,
the NDP, which has got 25 MPs, and his minority government depends on support from the NDP, for which he has to toe a pro-Khalistan line.
True.
And this is absolutely appalling. I don't think if a third world country like ours were to take up cudgels on behalf of some separatist movement in a Western democracy, can you imagine the weight? The weight of the West would have come on us by now. And here you have them openly supporting these Khalistani terrorists. They're given shelter over there. They're given access to funding, recruitment. They're carrying out terror strikes within India. And this whole thing of normalizing this thing in the garb of some kind of our Canadian nationals are being targeted and all that. It's absolute propaganda that's coming out from the very highest levels of the Canadian government. And
absolutely. Defense Minister spoke about
yeah, and what they're trying to say is that, you know, it's some kind of good terrorist, bad terrorist analogy is playing out over here.
Very difficult. You know, when it comes to the western part of the world, Ambassador Vora, I would like to, you know, hear from your side. Are there, I'm sure there are grey shades, there are, you know, lines which are so thin that you can't differentiate whether you are dealing, you know, with a hard power or a soft power, something of that sort. When it comes to Western values, why does it become so imperative that things are started being seen in terms of, say, a human rights or a particular nationality? We have seen this in case of UK, we are seeing this in case in Canada also.
You're so right. There is some kind of a mental block when it comes to dealing with these characters. Let me tell you something, sir. Canada, is, as you know, is a member of the Group of Seven.
Yes.
It wasn't. I was posted in Paris in 1975 when 6 countries had a summit-level meeting. Canada was not invited. Then this character's father, a fellow called Pierre Trudeau, he begged and pleaded and fell at Gerald Ford's feet and said, please, please, please include Canada. I'll polish your shoes. I'll carry your suitcase. I'll do what you want. And so it became G7. Now, Canada is a big country with a petty mindset. Where does it belong? Doesn't have the military power. Economy is only 2 trillion, mine is 4 trillion. He doesn't have the economic clout. He may have a higher per capita income. He just doesn't know what he's doing. He's totally lost it. And the West is very upset. And I say this in a generic sense, the West. There are some countries that understand. At India's rise and rise, inexorable rise, landing on the moon. You know, sir, I was told privately that all the other leaders who met our prime minister did say, wow, great job landing on the moon. This character did not. Obviously, there's something that is eating him up inside, and it's not just his wife abandoning him. There must be something that people don't give him. He believes he's entitled to great attention, but he doesn't get it. And therefore, he raises all these issues. He tries controversy, etc. At least he's an equal opportunity offender. He loses friends faster than he can make them. And he has certainly lost here for a long time. He's going to regret it. The new guy who comes in, we don't know what he's going to do. By the way, I'm told that the Prime Minister of Indian origin of Yukon province in Canada is right here in New Delhi. He's come with a trade delegation and they're talking about mining cooperation, especially critical minerals that India wants. So this is the political side on which we have expelled each other's diplomats, but commercially, even though he's called off the free trade delegation, which we didn't want in any case because free trade with Canada won't benefit us very much. But other areas, trade is still continuing.
Well, absolutely. And one trade event that was supposed to be held in October, that was also called off a little earlier, though. Mr. Sachdeva, you know, if we go back in time, this trade meeting called off after the G20 meeting, then earlier also, in the beginning of the year, we saw Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar actually reprimanding Canadian envoy on this referendum march that was supposed to happen. Were we seeing this thing building up? And G20 was just the trigger point. Do you think that was when actually the scales tilted? And finally, Justin Trudeau thought that this is it, I'm going to fire salvo at India?
I would think more or less exactly as you say. You know, the issue, of course, has been brewing and boiling and then little subsiding, simmering, and all of that over the past 1 year or so. You know, there have been several incidents, right, when India has complained the Indira Gandhi Prime Minister assassination tableau in that, parade or something, the attacks or call to attacks upon our diplomats, right, in Canada as well as in the US and all, and then graffiti on, temples. And also this thing has been going on. It's been bubbling up. And as I was mentioning earlier, this aspect that the Canadians were talking about the fact that India is interfering or meddling in our internal affairs. So I think that was a clear signal that they were not looking to reconcile or to address the issue, right? Rather, they were building up, or they had up their sleeve this aspect that, okay, I mean, you blame us and we will blame you for interfering in our internal affairs. So that was building up. And then, yes, it kind of precipitated at the G20 because India did not accord perhaps the kind of, reception and engagement which was anticipated, and India did not because we wanted to send a signal. Okay, clear. However, when he went back, if you see, I think he got into an aggressive mode. The first thing they've done, not the first thing, is canceling the delegation coming to Bombay led by their trade minister. That was 2 days ago they announced it, right? And that is supposed to be a part of their Asia pivot or the Asia strategy. Now, with relations with China getting downgraded, Canada is looking to hugely kind of, make efforts to grow its Indian trade and relations in the Pacific with India as the node. So they canceled that 2 days ago, and the very next day, this announcement in a public forum in the parliament for all, what to say. And
Absolutely.
with such words. So it indicates to me that the Canadians, Justin Trudeau, got spited or felt spited. And when they reached back to Canada, they decided to get aggressive with India by these two things. First, canceling the trade mission. Okay,
Right.
we are canceling it. And then the next day, making this announcement. So this has been brewing, and what I look forward to see, Trudeau has another 2 more years, by the way. I think elections are due in October of 2025. So the next 2 years could be a very, very icy, state of relations. And if Trudeau comes back, who knows who comes back? If Trudeau comes back and this icy situation continues, then our relations for the long term will be hampered. Theirs also and ours also. It's a mutual loss.
Indeed, that's what, when we began the show, Mr. Sachdeva, you're right.